Prepare for trouble.
And make it double.
To protect the world from devastation.
To unite all peoples within our nation.
To denounce the evils of truth and love.
To extend our reach to the stars above.
Jason.
Patrick.
Team Rocket blasts off at the speed of light.
Surrender now or prepare to fight.
Adam. That's right. Buffet.
Welcome to RPGaymer episode 7, a podcast about Pokemon. Woo!
Yes.
Nothing, guys.
What? You just had so much energy. I just want to let you do your thing.
Yeah, that's all you, man. Welcome back, gamers, to the latest episode of RPGaymer podcast. Like Patrick said earlier, we're talking about Pokemon, which is a long time coming. We're super excited here. And before we started, though, we do have a special guest. Patrick, you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, so coincidentally, Mr. Popular, me, myself, and I, am friend with an actual legitimate Pokémaster.
Stop it.
Yeah, stop.
No, tell me more.
Adam.
Yes,
our
hello.
friends, we've known each other for a while. Our spouses actually worked together, and then the first time I feel like we hung out, I was like, oh, he's not just a frat bro, he's like he's got interests and the passion for things that I like. So yeah, that was super cool. And we went to Nashville Pokemon Go Fest last year.
We did
together. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But I don't want to speak for you. I want to let you speak for you and why you think you're allowed to be on our podcast.
Oh gosh,
why you're allowed to. This is a privilege.
Wow. Okay. Let me dust off my resume real quick. No, but yeah, my name's Adam Dunworth. I have a Twitch channel, Tort TTV, Tort as in TORTE TTV. We'll explain what the name means later, but I've
it means
not tortellini.
Okay, come on. Yeah, the surprise is ruined now. But no, I'm a 90s kid, so obviously I grew up in a generation that was darn near impossible to not know what a Pokemon was. And so I was just always in love with the game franchise. I grew up playing the video games, playing the trading card games and things like that, which eventually led me to being the hyper competitive person I am. I started playing competitively all the way back when they were doing what we call VGC, the Video Game Championships. I lived in Indianapolis, so I got to attend like the national tournament every year. I competed in that every year.
Cool.
I was never sadly like a top 16 finisher or anything like that, but I did a little content revolving around VGC back in the day. But nowadays, because I'm I'm an old man, and so
curmudgeony.
Yes, and I'm grumpy. I don't play competitively within the VGC anymore, but I stream Pokemon Unite, and I stream a little bit of the TCG with my wife here and there. And like Patrick said, I play Pokemon Go. Basically, if it had Pokemon in front of it, I played it into the ground at some point. And so yeah,
Nice.
So I keep in touch with the competitive scene a little bit, and hopefully I'm not grumpy about Scarlet and Violet, and I get back into the competitive scene. And that's kind of just my thing, is I always like the competitive aspect of Pokemon. Obviously they're very, very cute, but yeah, I've always just like been really interested in the competitiveness of it, because it is a kid's game, obviously, but there's just so many levels to each of their games, whether it be the main series titles, their spin-offs and things like that. But yeah, I would say I'm a Pokemon master in the sense of I know about Ivies and Eevees, which I don't think many people know about. For me, obviously, I grew up as a 90s kid, but for the old guys in the call right now, what got you guys into Pokemon?
Oof, man. Am I that much older than you?
You're like 15 to 16 years older than each of us, aren't you? You're like 50 right now?
I look younger than both of you. Thank you very much. Watch, the audience cannot see me taking off my glasses right now and whipping my hair back and forth, but
his white hair. That's
yeah. the grays. Yeah, I actually am in the same boat as you, where I was in what you all would call middle school, which we didn't really have middle school in Canada. It was just elementary school. But I feel like I was still a part of that target Pokemon audience when Pokemon came out. And so I've been a lifer, basically. Pokemon Blue was the first game I had. And my mom and I talked about this recently, but I actually won a copy of Pokemon Blue from some contest in Canada. I don't know what it was, but she just like submitted me into this contest for drawing a Jigglypuff. And I didn't even know what a Jigglypuff was. It was in Nintendo Power, and I used to draw my mom photos because I just like, being a cute kid and whatnot. But yeah, my photo was submitted of me drawing this like really bad Jigglypuff, which she still probably has.
I was gonna say, do you still have that picture? Because that'd be amazing.
I want to see this.
I mean, I prided myself as a younger kid where like everyone would be like, you traced that, and I'd be like, I didn't trace it. I would like literally look at the photo and draw it. It's not like I could envision it from my mind and do it perfectly, but if I had something in front of me, I could make it look like a trace. I was pretty good about that. And then from there, I played Yellow and Silver and whatnot, and then I actually took a break from Pokemon for a little while. I think it's just took a break from handheld games, and then I cycled back with one of my exes in college and just kind of, I was around Heart Gold, Soul Silver time, and just continued from there. I mean, I've always been a good fan of the series. What about you, Jason?
I was there for that Heart Gold, Soul Silver time. I remember that.
You were?
I was. Yeah, I started the same way. Also grew up a lot in the 90s, so I think pretty embroiled in the Pokemon craze. I was already into a lot of video games. I already subscribed to Nintendo Power, and I want to say I got one of those VHS tapes in the mail. I remember those. And it was all about like Pokemon and like upcoming information. It talked about the anime and all this stuff too, and
how it makes you satanic and
exactly.
I do like the devil, so that makes sense. Yeah, that would make
all the pentagram summons that we did. Yes, so I like that, and I think I was starting to kind of realize that I liked like RPG type games where I could level up and things like that. So this really kind of was a win-win for me. And I can't remember if it was for like my birthday or Christmas or something. My mom got me also Pokemon Blue. And I also still really liked, I was still into swimming and getting into tennis, things like that too with my friends. Actually, we were also bowling at the time. And I just remember every aspect of like what I did was also truncated by like playing Pokemon in between. So I would like get with my friends and we'd get our link cables because the Game Boy was awesome. It had link cables, and being able to trade Pokemon was really cool. And getting to places for the first time in the game really sold it on me. So like finding the Safari Zone for the first time, I was like, this is the coolest game ever. And just stuff like that.
I will say there's a certain level of excitement that comes from that whole like being a 90s child where there weren't really these things that existed before, and like we were kind of at the crux of a lot of the introduction of like these types of trading card competitive games. And Magic the Gathering was starting then, Pokemon cards, Pokemon in general, Digimon, like we were really a heavy part of this like fad that lasted. And I think that's something that like you can't say about the generations as much before us. And now I feel like it's just so overstuffed with crap. It's like there's just so many different things that don't last very well because they're all trying to mimic the things that were introduced in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
I could say that too.
That's what's crazy. That you would think like Pokemon, for all it was back in the day, like somehow it's just continued to like power through. Like there's still people spending just like within the TCG like anywhere from like millions of dollars on like cards from back then, which is just crazy to think about. That's something that I like crumpled in my fingers as a child is now worth like
hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think a really crazy thing, like the trading card game, you can almost justify because it's like I've played Magic for quite a long time, and at least there's like sort of I need to have the card sort of mechanics so you keep buying. But like you could really argue that most of the mainline Pokemon games have been the same since like 1996. But like even if you take away the differences, they're all really good games. So it's hard to really be upset about that, and they're just fun. So I feel like, to Patrick's point, maybe the other things, I don't know, you mentioned Digimon, maybe they just didn't last because they didn't keep the fun factor going for, what is it now, literally like 20 some odd years, and that's pretty impressive.
I say, yeah, Digimon's always like the main comparison people try to make, and I remember growing up and loving Digimon. Probably, honestly, at that point as a child, like I loved Digimon more because I thought the show was just so much more compelling.
So there with you. I just don't think the Digimon games, if it was,
they weren't as good.
They were just not as good, and I think that's what, like the anime was just good enough, the TCG was just good enough, and then the video games at that point were like stellar. So like they were knocking it out of the park in every single genre, whereas like Digimon just had the anime was really good, and then all their other side ventures were kind of like lackluster.
Well, and like you said too, they're kind of like the impact that Pokemon had was still very like for kids. It's very safe, where again, I was a huge Digimon fan then too, because the show really is just so good, but it was geared more toward a teen audience. Because there were a lot more serious undertones of what was going on. And, like here you have these there's like basically no guns in Pokemon, but then you have this one Digimon that's like a giant gun. And then you have the giant dragon Digimon with like 20 guns on him. So like Pokemon, I feel like it was always that safe thing for kids to, it's like going back and having all of those cherished childhood books or movies that are just like so safe and appealing. It was just very that.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm super into gaming history and like collecting and all that stuff. So I've been Pokemon on the mind recently, but I think it cannot be understated. I think how much Pokemon like sold when it was there. I want to say the games came out in 96. I think that's when it was. And that's like 7 years into the Game Boy's lifespan, which is hella long, and they're the best-selling games on that console. Like they are insanely popular.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it's funny that you guys said like you grew up on or like started your voyage into the Pokemon world with Blue. I actually didn't even know about the video games as a kid. I just knew the TV show. I remember I guess I did have a really good childhood because I also had a TV in my room, and I remember
flexing.
I know. I remember flipping through the channels after school one day, and it was the Charmander episode was on TV, and I was like, "What is this? What is this magical creature?
So
what is going on?"
You died at a very young age, is what you're saying.
Was like,
your heart was broken at a very young age.
I learned real quickly that there is no such thing as love. No, but
also. Can we talk about that for a minute? Because like those early episodes of the show, which we didn't even plan on talking about the show. I feel like we're talking a lot about it, which is totally fine. That Butterfree episode.
That's what I was thinking of. No, don't bring it up.
Triggered me my mom moved away at like a very young age. Like I would just basically did not have my mom in my life for a lot of it. And I feel like that was the same time that the Butterfree episode aired, and I just remember like just stop, like I was just, like that was just death,
crying at the end.
Yeah. I know.
I feel the same way, man. And like, oh god, I remember thinking like, why would he do this? And my mom's like, "Are you okay? I have to go to school." And but it actually led to a tradition, which maybe we'll get into later too. But
if you love it, let it free.
Let it free.
Let it butter free.
I actually keep Butterfree as one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and I usually keep it in my team as long as I can because of that. Because I guess awesome. it's like a meanness towards Ash being a dumbass, and so I'm like, why would you do this? So I have to save the Butterfree.
Yeah, the competitor in me is like, you moron! You let go of a fully evolved Caterpie.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What are you doing? You idiot! But yeah, that's the competitor in me. I was like, no, we gotta have the best Pokemon possible. What are you doing, Ash? Evolve Pikachu already. That's not how the game works.
So we obviously have talked about when the show has been in its strongest, just because we haven't really talked about anything beyond the early episodes, and maybe that smashing Johto intro song, which is absolutely the best. But when do you think the game series was at its best?
Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Heart Gold,
Heart
Soul
Gold, Soul
Silver.
Silver.
I will fight anyone that says differently.
I am there with you. I think maybe I would include Gen 3 in there. I like Ruby Sapphire.
Mhm.
I think that's when we started to see a lot of Pokemon that weren't just animals. We started to get into a little bit more experimental, but not too crazy out there, like in some of the future gens. But I'm totally with you. Like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Diamond, Pearl, and
Platinum.
Ruby and Sapphire.
Platinum.
And Platinum. I think that little like chunk of games is probably when Pokemon was at its best. We got great evolutions. Some of my favorites are in that scope, and favorite Pokemon in general. I think the gym battles started to get a little bit more intense. I wouldn't say that like story has ever been the biggest thing, but we saw a lot more of the villains succeeding a little bit more. And I think things got a little bit more dark too with some of the legendaries. Like we went from all of a sudden only having about 2 legendaries and like 3 sub legendaries to like a full scope of them.
Right.
A lot more. But what do you guys think? Why do you think these titles were some of the best compared to the others?
I think that a lot of the enjoyment that I had, at least personally, was from kind of the mystery of finding everything out for the first time. So in that regard, like red, blue, green, yellow, those are like the best ones in that sense. I think it was cool to find all the new stuff. I feel like the game really refined itself. I also agree with Gold and Silver. I can say Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I played those too, but I just think that the game started to become like in its full stride. It understood what it was from the first game, and then it doubled down on that, and it just became really fun. And it latched onto the mechanics that I liked a lot, the collecting Pokemon, getting varieties. Adam, you mentioned like finding strong evolutions and like getting a nice team comp made up. And I think that was really when it was best for me. I think when we went to like Ruby Sapphire, it was still really good, but I was older at the time, and I think I just started to appreciate different games, and Pokemon kind of stayed kind of the same, but it's still a solid base. So I think those earlier games is where it was best.
I would agree with you. I think, yeah. I mean, we can get into like some of like the more business side of Pokemon, because I think obviously like you can't really talk about the games without like looking at like the business side of Pokemon, of like where we're at with the games nowadays. Because like, yeah, and maybe we all just have like rose-colored lenses on when we look at like the old games, and like we just think they're the best ever. Like again, like I said, I would fight someone over Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but like those games might not actually be that good when we compare them to like Let's Go and things of that nature.
Totally.
Because of like where technology is nowadays. But I think, I will say, in my opinion, I think those games are so good because the Pokemon Company and Nintendo are really working hand in hand with like their technology. Because if you think about it, like at its core, like Red, Blue, and Yellow were just like, it was something new and fresh that I don't think we had really seen yet in video games. And you guys might know better than I do, because again, like video games were not really big for me as a kid. My first like Pokemon game was Crystal, so Crystal does have a soft spot in my heart. But I think at that point, like Game Freak was like really like, we're a video game company and we are making really good video games, and we're hitching our wagon to Nintendo's like technology. So like, for example,
they didn't even know if Blue and Red were going to succeed
in like, the West.
Yeah, so I know that like Silver and Gold, and you can probably like verify this, we're kind of like still testing the waters to make sure that this was not just like a quick fad, that it was something that was going to stick.
Yeah, from my understanding, they weren't sure it was gonna be good. Like it was good in Japan, but like it kind of, who knows, once they went stateside, obviously it blew up. And I think they were already into I might be misremembering these things, but I know like Yellow got pushed really, really quickly because of the success it was having and the anime was having at the very least. So like they quickly made Yellow to like, again, like latch on to people that didn't know the video games, but at least knew the anime, and were like, oh, I can have Pikachu follow me around. That's so cool. And then they were like, okay, well, let's see if we can take this a step further and actually like continue this on and just make the largest, IP to ever exist in this world. And so, they created, gold and silver. And what's really fun, I mean, there's a bunch of like funny stories that have been like slowly kind of coming out about all of that, but like they apparently didn't program it very well at that time. And RIP in peace, Iwata, former president of Nintendo, he was apparently like just a coding genius. And the reason like silver and gold are so good is because he went into the game, deleted a lot of like bad code from the game, and like basically gave them so much space that they could add the Kanto region into it. And like obviously that's I think why a lot of people like Joe's generation as well, is because there's so much. There's so much. Is
that why you can only get Missing No in the first game?
I mean, maybe.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of.
Is Missing No officially missing?
There's a lot of glitches in the first game, so
yes,
I mean,
there is. Beat the game in 8 minutes, right?
Well, yeah, you can also get Mew after the third badge as well, because there's like a weird glitch within the game, which we can talk about Game Freak and how they may or may not be a very good video game company, but
we'll get there. I know you want to.
I will. I'm positive. I'm just trying to stay positive about my. I mean, obviously, I love the franchise. Like, I flew to Japan for 48 hours to go do a Pokemon event, so like they got my money. They got me hook, line, and sinker. But I do get grumpy every once in a while about them.
Thanks for that Torkoal, by the way. I wouldn't have that.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Aside from glitches that apparently Pokemon developers have introduced to the series, what are some of the things that you've liked the most, like in terms of new things that you tend to see in the games? Like what are some of the best?
Ooh. Man, I think the link feature from the original Game Boy is pretty sweet. I feel like if that didn't like take off and allow you to like link and play with another friend or trade Pokemon, I think the series would be a little bit different. Although ironically enough, they're getting kind of away from that with the later games nowadays. But that was pretty cool. And I think it made my game feel special and unique that I had exclusive ones on Blue, for example, you couldn't get in Red. And thinking about it out loud right now, I wonder if that's why I got into collecting video games.
So would you say it's so much the linking or is it just more like the exclusivity of what you can catch in certain games?
I think it's like both. I think it if I had to lean towards one, it's probably the exclusivity is kind of cool, and it's also kind of cheap marketing tactic to make you buy the game twice or do something else like that. But it was cool because at least it made it feel like, hey, if I do got to catch them all, I have to have friends or just enough money to buy another copy of the game. But it was neat, and I thought it made me want to play the game in a different way, which I think is amazing for any video game. That's a really cool feature.
I say, the trading. Yeah, I mean, the trading is still, I think, hands down, like the biggest feature to this day. I mean, obviously, it's not as intense as it once was, but I think you're right. Like, I mean, I made immediate friends with the kid at school that had the link cable, and like, I remember, like, I always wanted to sleep over his house so we could trade back and forth, like Pokemon, not really knowing what we were doing, but it was just like, holy crap, man! My Pokemon's not on your game, and you're this is crazy. Just like being,
cool. I have a feeling it probably went something more like trade me this Pokemon or else I'm hanging you from this cord.
No, I was not that mean as a child. I was still full of whimsy and hope for the world. Thank you very much.
not as jaded as you are.
Not as jaded. Yeah. Now, yeah. But
what about you, Patrick? What's a big standout for you?
Oh, I mean, there are a couple. I think one of the best things is just kind of like the diversity in how you evolve some Pokemon. I always liked it when it took something special as opposed to just being a standard level up, because that's something that you see in so many other games. I mean, like whether they're evolving or not in other RPGs, it's still pretty much the same concept. So that was always a cool thing to me, like, oh, I have to walk with this Pokemon for so long, or they have to be happy, or just like I like those weird things. I wish it was just more of a requirement in a lot of different games, especially Pokemon Go, because evolving in Pokemon Go is just stupid. But I think the biggest one for me overall is probably Mega Evolutions, and I don't know if that makes you
he stole
Adam.
Mine. No, I actually like Mega Evolutions. I know that seems weird, but I actually did like them, and kind of sad that they took them away.
I'm sure this is based on what we talked about earlier. It's totally a Digimon thing. Like,
Yeah, right.
it really is reverting back to what Digimon was. But I think it, in my mind, gave a lot of Pokemon another chance to be seen. Like Beedrill, you'd never think of really using in terms of the meta, but all of a sudden, like, you have Mega Beedrill, who is a crazy sweeping Pokemon, you know, or just like it gave some more layers that you just wouldn't have thought about. That was very exciting to me. I always question why certain Pokemon got it. Like, why is Tyranitar getting this Mega Evolution? Because he's already awesome. Like, does he?
He's already Tyranitar.
Yeah, I would have liked to see like Pokemon that didn't get evolutions, like Dunsparce.
Oh yeah, Dunsparce.
Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't it be so cool if Dunsparce got a little Mega Evolution, like just
fun.
to make him more viable? Like, I just think that would be so cool. But yeah, Mega Evolutions for me. What was it for you, Adam?
From like a competitive standpoint, like it refreshed the game for a lot of people at that point, because up until that point, like the competitive scene was basically just like, what are the strongest Pokemon? We have to use the strongest Pokemon. Like, there really was no variation at that point, and it was one of those things of too, like, you had to use a legendary Pokemon. Obviously Mega Evolutions eventually got overpowered, or OP as you gamers would like to call it. But
yes,
but yeah, like Kangaskhan, for example, dominated like the competitive scene for like 2 years because it was so good. And it's like, Kangaskhan, like, when's the last time you actually like thought about Kangaskhan? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's just one of those crazy things that it gave a lot of fresh life into Pokemon, that you're like, I don't really know what your next evolution would be, but like, here's a fun one-off evolution for you.
I appreciate that too when you say that, because like, I know a big part of the meta is also what items you're using, and there are some Pokemon that like don't benefit from Mega Evolving. They benefit from having like a certain item as opposed to that, or it could really throw someone off if you think that you're going to Mega Evolve, but instead, you know, you're using that held item instead. So I like hearing that it really did reinvigorate the series, even though
I thought it did.
Introduce them were not the greatest games.
I will say Kangaskhan did kind of ruin it in a sense. Now, like, I really think about it, because I remember being like, I don't want to use Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is lame. I want to use these fun Pokemon. But it was like, okay, Kangaskhan's really cool. This is a really sick ability. But
I'm actually also happy that you brought up Dynamaxing, because
that's it, Dynamaxing. I forgot
some
about
of the worst things that they've introduced, and I think that is it. And I think you're completely right with like Mega Evolutions reinvigorating things, but I feel like they were trying desperately so hard to, oh, this worked really well. What's another thing that we can do to make it really interesting? So then we saw Z moves, and then we saw Dynamaxes, and I don't like those features. I think they're grasping at straws with those, because they didn't really add anything that wasn't already there. You know, like, oh, here's one really powerful move that takes 20 minutes to watch, or we're gonna pretend that a Dynamax isn't a Mega Evolution, because a Dynamax is basically a Mega Evolution. And I just think that it's very, very silly. So I thought I did, aside from when you're in the gym battle in Sword and Shield, and I know you have not played Sword or Shield, but like,
that is correct.
There is a high level of hype when the gym song, the gym battle song, like, the gym leader, when you're fighting against the gym leader, and all of a sudden they're about to release their Dynamax Pokemon, it's super hype. I love that part. But aside from that, like, is literally one of the worst introductions to the series I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, again, like, I like the changes they've done to the competitive scene, but you're right, it's kind of sadly come as a detriment to like the features they've created over the years, because they created Mega Evolutions, which everyone loved and enjoyed, but the competitive scene kind of hated them, and it seemed like, or I shouldn't say hated them, but they just didn't, it was obviously getting overpowered, and like, it was kind of game breaking, and it was weird that their solution for like the next generation of games was Z moves, which like, for a second I was like, are we just going to completely forget about Z moves entirely in this conversation right now, or are we actually going to bring up Z moves? But which was, again, like, no one wants to watch a 10-minute cutscene of Blizzaga from Final Fantasy.
Basically.
Yeah, so
every attack is Knights of the Round over and over again.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's basically what a Z move is. I know you can cut them short and whatnot, but it's just like a flashy move that does a lot of damage without any substance. And at least like for Dynamaxes, I will say some Pokemon got very unique moves. Like Lapras has the one that basically casts was it Aurora Veil on everyone. There's certain things that were at least a little bit cool about that, but Z moves were just kind of like, yeah, here's a big chunk of damage. I don't know what else to tell you.
So we have some of the best features and the worst features, but what are the things you want to see in the future mainline Pokemon games? Something I liked about the spin-offs was trying something new for the series. So we can maybe talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus and just taking the general idea of Pokemon and trying something different. I want to see that come to the main series like proper. So maybe, for example, I don't know, what if the next Pokemon game is like primarily third person? You have your party follow around you. Maybe the battles are like a little bit more strategic, because at this point, how old are we? 50, 60 years old now? Is that what we said at the beginning of this podcast?
We're at least 70.
I'm
at least
15 still.
15 still. So we have a wide range. And funny enough, but case in point, like there is a lot of people that play these games. So maybe trying some features, like Adam was saying about the competitive scene, something that could cater towards a larger, older, more mature audience. I think that would be pretty cool. And that would potentially bring someone like me back into the mix and get excited for a mainline Pokemon game, knowing that it's not just 4 moves with, you know, PowerPoints to dictate them and like a general rock, paper, scissors-esque at its core combat system. So maybe something like that is what I would kind of want to start with.
I actually agree with you too. That's kind of what I was gonna jump in on, where for the series, I think Arceus definitely started in the right direction, but I was really disappointed that they omitted abilities. Because abilities for Pokemon are what make some of the ones that don't get the stat growths more feasible. Like thinking of Azumarill, being a physical beast, but if you take that ability away, it's just not really a functional Pokemon anymore. Right. So I would want them to reintroduce some of these things that we know that very easily could have been in there. And then along the lines of Arceus too, I feel like it was a step in the right direction in terms of like catching Pokemon in their natural habitat. But I still think it was a little too Pokemon Go in the sense that like, what's this
Pokemon everywhere?
What's this random Tyranitar doing here? I feel like with technology and how it goes, they could do certain things like at this time only if you have this berry ready, this like one and only berry, you might get this Pokemon to pop up. And I think they're making it more of just kind of like that huge catch a billion Pokemon collection fest where they really could like hone in the craft of, I really had to work my ass off just to catch this Pokemon, and really get that reward of getting that. Because I remember when I was playing Arceus and it was toward the end of the game and I stopped like trying to be stealthy and catch things. I literally was just running around and throwing a Pokeball immediately.
You got to go Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's basically what it was at that point. And I nailed, there's like the Alpha Gardevoir or Alpha Gallade. It's one of the two toward the end of the game. And I caught it on my first throw, not hitting it in the back, not even trying to battle it. And like it was 20 or 30 levels above my current Pokemon. And I know that means like I can't necessarily use it, but like that really took me out of it. That really took me out of the game, because it's just kind of like, oh, this it
eliminates the challenge, and
there
exactly.
wasn't any challenge anymore. And why is this Pokemon here just sitting here in the first place? Like, make some really cool hidden cave. Like, yeah, Rattatas and Nidorans and stuff like that, and Pidgeys can be hopping around. I'm totally okay with them doing that, but there's no reason this like Pidgeot or this giant Rapidash should be out in the field just chilling.
Yeah, that's yeah, I feel like the Pokemon Company is just having kind of an identity crisis when it comes to the games, because like we had Let's Go a couple years ago now, and I actually really enjoyed those games. I know it's not everyone's favorite games, and I definitely can get that, but like I really liked the art style. I think overall Pokemon is something that like needs to stay in the games, and like that's super like base level things. Like obviously there's been a lot of cool features that they've created over time, but like I think at its core, just being enveloped in a world is awesome. And I get what you're saying, Patrick, of like, why the heck was I able to catch a Gardevoir? But like that creates some coolness, I think, for kids as well, of like, oh my gosh, I saw a Gardevoir in the wild and I caught him and now he's on my party. That's so cool. So I think I think the more that they can like create a real world for people to like feel enveloped in and like have like some real interactions with the Pokemon, I think that's something that they need to try their hardest to keep, because growing up, like I love having my like partner Pokemon follow me around in like Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And like I remember being super bummed when the next games came out and your partner Pokemon didn't walk with you, and I was like, I was like, why not?
Why did we go backwards?
Yeah, it's like one of those things of like, because like I like mega evolutions, but like I'm okay if they don't necessarily come back. But would I love to see them come back? Yes, but I think for me personally, I think it's just Pokemon in the overworld and being enveloped in the world that they're creating, because that's what made me fall in love with games to begin with. Was this is my adventure. I'm going out there and catching Pokemon and beating the bad guys, and I think that's what keeps people coming to the games. Is like it's a nice little escapism for them of like, here's this magical world that these dinosaurs walk around in and don't try to eat me. They want to be my friend and become my best friend, and I think that's also why just Pokemon's survived for so long, is they've created a cute little world for people to live in.
I think we're kind of saying the same thing too. Like, for me, it is that world immersion. I think they nail that really well when you play a game like Pokemon Snap, where you see Pokemon more in a natural environment doing things that Pokemon do. And that's kind of what I mean. We're like, yeah, if I saw a Gardevoir doing a thing a Gardevoir should be doing, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But here's like just a Gardevoir standing here in this place with no context, right? Just chilling. So I think for me, the immersion would be somewhere in between like what you do in Pokemon Snap and then Arceus, where it's not like a first person, like, on a rail game. I wouldn't want it to be something like that, but like things are just more in their natural elements. You have to do some things to make them evolve. I wouldn't say I would want like that. I still want to have to train them, but it just was a lot more cool that it's just kind of like the observing of the natural life of the Pokemon universe, as opposed to I caught this bitch, I leveled up, it evolves. I just want more. That's all.
Yeah.
I want to change my answer to say that future games should allow me to just pelt Pokemon with apples over and over again, and that's how you play the game. That's how you catch them.
Oh gosh.
This is going to be a long episode, so we're actually going to give you a little bit of extra break right now before we talk more about Pokemon. So stand up, stretch your legs, grab a coffee, go to the bathroom, and head on back. While you're doing that too, make sure to leave us a review of this podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can always follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord, and we'll be right back for you guys.
And we are back for a little mid-segment discussion on actually what we're currently playing. So since this is going to be a longer episode, we're actually going to split some of our stuff up in weird magical ways. We're breaking the formula. Oh, good. But Adam, I want to know, what are you playing right now?
Pokemon Unite.
Of course. Okay, moving on.
No, I was like thinking all week, I was like, I gotta play a different game because they're gonna ask me, and I'm gonna just say Pokemon Unite, and they're gonna be like, what is wrong with this man? Does he not play anything other than Pokemon games?
I mean, based on what I just heard,
he
really
doesn't. Yeah, you don't.
I know. Like, I have this like, I'm super excited for you guys to talk about Tales of, because I have Tales of Vesperia I need to play. I have literally every Tales game that's ever come out I own, and I've only played like 5 minutes of all of them because I'm just like, I know how much time they are going to take. So I will say, in Adam's magical world where he plays another game not named Pokemon, it's Tales of.
Nice.
Jason,
what
how about you?
What a goal. I don't know if we talked about this game yet, but I've been playing at night a game on the Switch called Murder by Numbers. Do you hear
called my dick?
No, it's not. Geez. It's called Murder by Numbers. It's a weird cross between like a Picross game and a sort of investigative game like Phoenix Wright. So by that I mean like you're in a situation where you're like someone in your office, I guess, gets murdered, and you're trying to figure out like who did it and whatnot. And you find clues like you would in a Phoenix Wright game, where you move around the screen and like you tap to be like, oh, this is interesting. But then in order to like decipher the clue, you have this like weird robot companion that I don't know, for some reason the clues all come in Picross form. If you're not sure what a Picross is, it's a puzzle where you have like a grid and it says like which numbers you're supposed to press and which ones you aren't based on like a number system. It's been around for a long time. It's really, really fun, and it's one of my favorite type of puzzle games. It's pretty cool. I find it though having a weird identity crisis where I'm like, do you want to be an investigative game or do you want to be a puzzle game? And they don't quite sync as well as I'd want. But the characters are pretty cool and the story's okay. And I like that, so I'm intrigued to see what happens. And really, I just love Picross games, so it kind of works.
It's fun.
Yeah. What about you, man?
So I recently came into inheriting an OLED. So yeah, this has been great and terrible for me going through my backlog.
What's a backlog?
Yeah, it is the thing of my nightmares.
I'd say first off, you should just be playing Pokemon games. So
I've been playing Octopath Traveler because I
love that game.
Didn't finish it when it first came out. It actually really overwhelmed me because of the 8 characters and like their separate stories and whatnot. And I was disappointed that their stories don't overlap. So there's no interaction between the different 8 playable characters. But this time I'm giving it a little bit more time and credit. And I will say, I didn't realize how well the stories are written. So even though these characters aren't interacting with each other, like their story and plot lines are very diverse, and you get to experience these characters and like their propelling force for their adventure. And the game is fucking beautiful.
It's so
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I feel like this was the first game that had like HD 2D graphics in my mind that I can really think of.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And probably the one that like spurned it, like why we're gonna get Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, and you know, like why there's been a push for more games like this. But yeah, I'm happy I picked it back up. It was time to just finish this off since I've had it for so long.
It's a very, very good game. I think it's like I have 100 hours in that game. It's so good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
It's a grind fest. Yeah, it's a grind fest.
Okay, we are back for part 2 of our discussion on Pokemon. And in the first part, we talked about the games. So one of the reasons why this episode is so long is because we also wanted to give as much time as possible to talk about the Pokemon, because of course the games wouldn't be the games if the Pokemon weren't the Pokemon, if you can wrap your head around my logic there. Guys, what goes into a well-designed Pokemon in your mind? Like if you saw how many are there? Like 900?
Adam, lean on you.
Gosh, I think there.
I'm googling this right now.
I'm pretty sure there is. I'm almost positive after this next generation that we're gonna have 800,000.
898. 898 Pokemon.
Does that include forms too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What goes into a well-designed Pokemon?
I feel like the ones that I would lean towards would be something that like is thematically correct. So like how to describe this? Like maybe like one that if it's going to be a ghost Pokemon, it's like actually a ghost type, it's actually a ghost of something. Spooky. Like that would make sense to me. Yeah, it could be spooky, so it kind of makes sense. If it's a bug, it's actually like a bug. But I think from that one too, it needs to be unique. So maybe like even though there's a couple snake Pokemon, like I feel like Ekans might stand out because it's the first one. Like maybe it's something like that, but I don't know. It's hard. I think there's so many cool
so Viper
things.
Doesn't really stand out because Ekans already been done.
It's already
I get
there.
what you're saying there, so it has to be distinct.
Yeah, it has to be a little distinct, and also I tend to lean towards the ones that are more like funny or like they're kind of cutesy. So I know before we started this, you talked about Jigglypuff, and like Jigglypuff is cool and all, but I don't know, like. I don't know if I like the funniness of that one, so I don't even know how I describe this. Maybe I needed to default to the Pokémaster of Adam and see what he wants to say.
Oh gosh, I mean, for me, a well-designed Pokemon is simplicity, because I think everyone says the same things of like Gen 1 had it right, like the color schemes on those Pokemon are super duper simple. You know, they don't have like a million things jutting out of them. They don't have like random armor and things like that.
Digimon.
Yeah. So I think like simplicity is really nice. Like I like minimalist design as like a human. So I think simplicity, I think we're kind of getting into it there a little bit, Jason, of like you look at it and you're like, that's that animal. Like you don't look at it and be like, the heck is wrong with this thing? Like, does it, what happened to you, sir? But
that's literally a bag of garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's tough because at the same time too, though, like there's definitely some simple Pokemon that you look at and you're like, you're trash and I hate you, go away. But I will say, I know what I think it's easier for me to tell you like what I think a bad design is rather than like a good design. Cause like, I look at some of like the bipedal Pokemon and I'm like, what? So like, I'm not a very big fan of Scorbunny, or like, like that evolution line. Same with like Inteleon. I thought he was kind of weird, but like, I look at Lucario and I'm like, that's a sick looking Pokemon. So yeah, it's one of those things of like, you just kind of have to look at him and be like, does this make sense? It's hard. Yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I mean, I have some very clear no's. Like for me, Pokemon aren't food. I don't like
you don't want to lick. You don't want to lick your Pokemon.
I'm not licking that goddamn ice cream. I don't like it when Pokemon are inanimate objects. I think that's kind of what you were saying, Jason. Where like if it's a ghost, but it's like a ghost. Desk,
it's like a
you know,
exactly
like, why I have a problem with it. And then like and this is kind of what you were saying out too. I don't like it when Pokemon are overly human like, but I also disagree with you a little bit where so I agree that I don't like it when Pokemon are overly embellished, like super hyper anime. Like why does it have 20 swords on its back, or something like that.
Right.
But I also like Zygarde it looks like a fucking mech in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon in his final form. But I also don't like the super simple Pokemon either. Like Pidgey is just a pigeon. Rattata is just a rat.
But they're so adorable. And
but I mean, like
Pidgey is bae.
But Pidgeot, like I'm down as they go further down the line. But there are some Pokemon in the earlier gens that are just like too simple, and that's why like I think Nidoran like that stands out a little bit better because you're just kind of like, well, it kind of looks like something, but not 100%. So in the middle is where it lands for me of like the Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 minus some of the weirder ones like the trash and the ice cream cone, where it like I think of something
you take
like,
that back, goddammit.
Gulpin and Swalot, like they're monsters. You know what I mean? It's okay if I don't recognize what animal it is, because to me Pokemon don't have to be an animal. They just have to be like a thing. Like Magnemite is super unique, but you can't be like, oh yeah, that's totally, what animal is that? It's not. So I think it's cool when we get some of these Pokemon that are a little bit more adventurous. So maybe it's a dog, but it's a fire dog, and that's why Growlithe works so well.
Yeah,
he's not just a normal type dog, and I think that's my issue with normal type in general, where they just tend to be like a base animal. They don't really have anything.
They're not special.
They don't have anything that gives them that unique flair. And in Gen 5, you see like Panpour, Pansear, and Pansage, and I think they're really cool because you have 3 different monkeys. I know they're not good Pokemon, but in terms of designs, they're
thematically they're cool.
They're cool because like it's not just a monkey. Here's a monkey that's like a fire monkey. They're adding, and it has its own little unique design that sets it apart from what's similar. But I'm also with you when you said that like some evolutions have ruined Pokemon for me, because I'm team no biped either. Like I really hate it when we go from a 4-legged Pokemon to a 2-legged Pokemon. And like Scorbunny, I know some people really stand him. He's you made a human. Like you literally just made a human. And I think sometimes
the human Pokemon.
If it's a part of the progression, I think it can be okay, but the progression is just such a big thing for me.
And I know what's really funny though too is like I know we're having this conversation and we feel like so guttural about different Pokemon, but there's definitely someone on like the other end of this podcast listening and being like, these morons, how could they not understand the brilliance of Vanillux. He is beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, that's
I think Matt and Luke are those people who love Vanillux.
Yeah, but yeah, that's.
I love them for what they are, but like, are they a really good Pokemon? Like, not really.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also what's cool about Pokemon is like we can sit here and be like, I don't like that Pokemon, I don't like the way that it looks, and there's definitely someone that's like has every single plushie created, every card created, anything that's got its face on it, like covered in their room. So like, I mean, yeah, I think it's a bad design as well. Like, I think it's kind of weird, it's kind of funky, but like at the same time too, like there's someone that loves it, and so like, are really their bad design Pokemon? Because like somebody loves it.
I mean,
you know?
it's just a personal preference.
It's super
like
subjective,
I want to hear from you guys like more of this whole like evolutions and evolution's gone wrong. You know, because at the end of the day, you are right. You are right. Like, if I say I don't like this Pokemon, someone else could like this Pokemon, and I'm not saying that they're wrong for liking that Pokemon. I'm just telling you
they're just not right.
This is why I don't like that Pokemon.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are some of these evolutions that have just kind of like you're like, oh god, no?
I just like, having not played probably as many as you guys have. There's some where I feel like it just loses some of the essence of why I liked the character to begin with. So let's just talk about Geodude. And I thought Geodude was a funny flying armed fucking stone, and that was really weird. And like, when he evolves, it's still cool, but I don't know if I like it as much, because I thought it was a cool design into like Graveler and Golem, and I'm like, no, you're just a boulder. Like, it's not as cool to me. and like, on the opposite end of it, like, some are pretty cool. So like Pikachu evolves into Raichu, and Raichu looks pretty sweet. Like, his tail is really cool. And I don't know, like, but I kind of grew to liking Pikachu because like I just like how he looks. And
you've been programmed for that, though.
We've all been programmed for that, like literally since day one of that anime and manga. But I don't know. And like, so would I ever like not evolve them? No. Like, to Adam's point way earlier, like of course I would, because that's like how you beat the game. But I don't know. It makes me kind of wish that you could almost do something like you would do in a game like a Diablo or WoW, where you could like skin your Pokemon. Well, that's the wrong word to use. Where you could add like, you know, a filter so that it stays looking how you want it to look, but they could actually evolve and get stats. Sorry, yeah, skinning Pokemon, that's a different topic.
Yeah, I was saying, when you said that question, I was like, is there really like an evolution line that I hate? So I'm trying to Google like a picture of every single Pokemon to like get my brain churning. And the one that like, it's like a dot on this poster that I'm looking at, but like I immediately had like a visceral reaction. Clamperl. How the heck does it evolve into two eels?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah,
there?
right.
Yeah.
So
like, what the fuck?
What happened with
why?
that?
But yeah,
and then the firefighting starters.
I mean,
3 in a row.
Are you a starter if you don't fight?
But okay, 3 games in a row, and like, this is hard for me because I really love Blaziken. Like, I really love Blaziken, but like 3 games we have firefighting starters.
Well, technically,
what other types would they use? That's the only 2 types they have, Patrick.
I say,
they
yeah.
have to put it somewhere. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Well, as I say, yeah, he's technically Blaziken is the original. And then no, Blaziken, like, Gen 3 is the only game where I like all 3 starters. Yeah.
For all the way through. But it's the following to, like, why couldn't they have been like, oh, we did this last game, maybe we should do something differently. And
literally anything else.
By Gen 5, they're just kind of like,
I feel like they were
at this
is what we do.
Yeah. I feel like they were trying to like just make it a thing, and they like, as an inside joke, were like, oh yeah, firefighting, duh, like what else would we do?
Firefighters.
And then they eventually like checked into Twitter and were like, oh wait,
6 years later,
they don't love it. Why don't you love it? Don't you love our joke? So yeah, I don't know how they got to that point. Yeah,
maybe they like the memes for the attention it gets. Like, I love all the memes for the new cat starter, and everybody's like drawing tape over its paws to
keep it on the ground.
4 feet on the ground.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Other ones that I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't like it when certain Pokemon get favoritism too.
You don't like the million forms of Meowth and Charizard? What?
Yeah, I have a problem with that somewhat. Like, why does Charizard get 2 Mega Evolutions, but Blastoise and Venusaur don't?
These plushies aren't going to
And-
sell themselves.
And Greninja gets to like DNA Digivolve into Ash Greninja. Like, I just don't understand why they would make one Pokemon that higher tier. Like, at least if you're gonna do it for one starter in a gen, do it for all of them. I just really think that's the most fair, because it makes the other ones just seem lesser. Like, there's not as much equity in Pokemon when those types of things happen.
Yeah.
I can understand it if it's a legendary. Like, I really understand why Mewtwo gets it, because like he is the final,
legendary.
the end all.
Yeah.
He's the end all be all of one of the legendaries in that game. So it's totally okay that he gets like an X and a Y evolution. But for Charizard, but for Charizard, it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to this whole concept of like it's a business, and like they sometimes put the business before they put the game design and the game development, because like Charizard doesn't need all these millions of different forms and doesn't need to like be stuffed down our throats every generation, but somehow it is. And it's because like Charizard is freaking loved by every human on the face of the planet.
Yeah, very nostalgic.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I'm not a big, and I probably, honestly, growing up, I probably was a huge Charizard fan, but then like I got hipster about Pokemon and was like, there's more than just Charizard, you fools. Come on now.
It's not a phase, Nintendo.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. So I think that's kind of where you see a lot of that like game design and game choices. Like, well, we know Charizard is going to sell really, really well because he always sells really, really well. So Pokemon Company's like, so did you make the 2 forms of Charizard yet, or no? And Game Freak's like,
did you make sure that you get this Ash Greninja, even though Ash doesn't exist really in the game?
Right.
In the game, yeah.
So yeah, I think that has a lot to play with it as well. I mean, it is what it is. They exist, so like you can only be so grumpy about it. You just hope that there's enough people out there that say like what we're saying right now of like we don't want more of that. Please stop. Like, I've had enough. Give me something new, something different, or like breathe some new life into like some of these other like Pokemon. Like, I thought, again, I didn't play Sword and Shield, but like I do like some of the Pokemon designs that they created, and I like the idea of like reinventing Mr. Mime, for example, and giving him an evolution that we didn't think he needed. But like Mr. Rhyme is, he's probably not well liked because he is kind of a creepy pedophile vibe going on there.
A little bit.
But he's fun. Like, it's a fun, fresh design that gives life into a Pokemon that like we just haven't really talked about in a while, I think. So I don't know. It's one of those things of they're trying, but I think sometimes they get handcuffed to like play they get told to play the hits.
They have to do it this way. Yeah, you're right.
I'm a little more team add a new evolution than I am team like regional variant.
Mm-hmm. And I am too, but
for example, like I liked what Gen 4 did when Gen 4 gave a lot of the Gen 1 Pokemon an extra evolution, or some of the non-evolvers got an evolution. And I just think it makes more sense because you think of these different countries and like the idea of a Pokédex, and like nobody knows that there's this alt form for this, and it completely retcons the whole notion of like this is what this Pokemon is when there's this other form of it. So I have like I'm sort of okay with it because it is cool when you get to see the revival, like you said, of these Pokemon that you don't see, especially like we have Alolan Ninetales, which is just
beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. But at the same time, like I would rather see Jinx get an evolution.
Right.
Get some of these Pokemon that really need that revival.
I would say like I agree with you, and I wish they would have. That's a feature that they should have kept. It was like reinventing like or like creating evolutions for like forgotten Pokemon instead of being like, oh, we're in a new region that allegedly no one's ever been to and seen this form before. Yeah, I agree with you. I'd rather them do evolutions, but like, what are we, 3 regions now that they've been doing this? Or we,
yeah,
because we have Hisuian forms as well. So like, I think the regionals are here to stay, sadly. So I rather them just like do justice to like some of the older Pokemon, I guess. If they're gonna keep with regionals, I rather them like really shape it out and be a little bit better about like what
it's
they're
almost
creating.
like when you see a TV show get a reboot as opposed to creating new content, where like doing an Alolan version or a different like country's version or region's version of a Pokemon is like rebooting an old show as opposed to like coming up with creative new, like we haven't seen a new type in forever. Like literally since Fairy type,
Please
and that was
don't.
4 generations.
The competitive scene is hard enough as it is.
I know, but I mean, I really want to see a new type, which really should be Sound type, and I've been with that team Sound forever.
Nice.
I don't disagree. I think that makes the most sense of what we have. But
I feel like
don't.
Thematically though, it makes sense that they would keep the regional variances. Like if you're thinking about the whole world of Pokemon, and then the new game, and Hisui gives like historical background to Pokemon, it just seems really unlikely that you wouldn't know that there's like a different form of like a different evolution of something, unless it's like a new evolution as opposed to a pre-one. Like it doesn't quite make sense, but it would make sense that like Sandshrew is different in Alolan region. Like that could make sense. And like I liked how they also played on, I think it was Rattata is like invasive to that land. Like that also makes sense. And so that's pretty cool. And I would say let's do more of those things as opposed to like introducing a shit ton more Pokemon, because oh my god, there's a lot of them.
There's
and
so
like
many.
To what you're both saying, there's so many cool potentials that you could do and lean on, and like give them new forms, give them evolutions if you really want to, and like give those existing Pokemons more buy-in and like I don't know, more preference to be liked by the player base already, as opposed to just adding more and more. And I wonder if it's a business thing. Like we need to sell more toys, we need to sell more plushies, and so we make new Pokemon.
There's not a new Charizard in the game? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Wait,
Okay, speaking of Charizard, because like you said earlier, he is probably one of the most unanimous favorites of everyone who's not on this podcast. I want to know what some of your Pokemon favorites are, but I think because we've been talking so long, we should probably rapid round this and judge each other accordingly based on who some of our favorites are.
Oh my goodness.
What we'll do is we'll do like 1 or 2 of your favorites, and we'll kind of go around a couple times and say your favorite, and then we'll judge. So I'll start us out. But 2 of my favorites are definitely Togekiss and Mamoswine.
Oh, Mamoswine's so cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to be so judgmental, but yeah, those are good. I like both of them.
And I have more. We'll get more, but you guys go ahead. Give me some of your favorites. Give me 2 at a time.
I can go next. I'm always a fan of Pidgey, and I'm always a fan of Butterfree, like we talked about earlier. So I'll start with those. I am the winner. Thank you. What about you, Adam?
I would say all-time favorite forever and always, and it's like the reason behind my username online, Torterra. I don't know, just love that guy to death. And then I'm gonna be difficult and say every doggo Pokemon, but I'll give you a specific one. I love every dog Pokemon, but Poochyena, I think I've got a little soft spot for right now.
Oh, nice.
I think that was the first dark type I ever used, so I don't think that's a bad choice. Crobat and Heracross. Okay. Mine's basically my ideal team. So those are 2 more where Heracross is chef's kiss in the anime. He's just so good. But that is a cool Pokemon. You know, that's a Pokemon that looks like what it is, but it's still really cool.
You just like sucking on bulbs or something, or
Ari, is that a question?
Oh my god! Moving on. I always thematically liked Eevee. Thought Eevee was cool, and I think it's funny. But I think Trubbish is adorable for what it is.
Oh my gosh! Yes,
it's a little
Trubbish
bag of trash.
Is so adorable. Yes,
Trubbish is rubbish.
Oh, I know he is, but that's why I love him.
Rude. Okay, I will go. I gotta keep up. I gotta keep with the doggos. I know it's so sad, but I love Manectric.
Oh yeah, so cool.
Oh yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah.
Love Manectric, and then Arcanine is another one, all-time favorite.
See, that should have been the starter right there. Arcanine could have easily been the starter of that game. So cool. My final 3 favorites, with a little shout out to one other, Roserade, Altaria, and Honchkrow. Are like most of these are the Gen 4 additional evolutions, and then Altaria just because like that is one cool ass looking Pokemon. You have Cloud for wings. And then special shout out to Litten and Skitty because I love cats, and Skitty in the anime is also just the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire
Aw,
life.
Skitty. Her little pink tail is cute.
Jason, you have any more favorites?
Gosh, I think I only had one more favorite, but it's only because I think his plushie is adorable. But I love Snorlax. He would be so amazing to sleep with. Like, you know, lay your head on his big old belly. Oh my gosh.
It's just safe to assume that everybody likes Snorlax, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think that's one of those ones that's okay to
yeah, I think so.
It's because he's so relatable. Like, I get it.
He is a mood. Adam, who are some of your final favorites?
All right, I'll switch it up and not do doggos. I'm gonna say Decidueye. I think was really cool. And
yeah,
very thematic for Hawaii. Which give them credit sometimes on like why they create some Pokemon. I'm gonna go with that. Sir Farfetch'd is super duper cool. Love him. I think he's very cool to look at. And then my final, Rayquaza. I think Rayquaza's
he's one of my favorites.
One of the best
for sure.
One of the best shinies. Cool Mega Evolution. Like
best shinies, yeah.
We're gonna do the exact same thing for the fugly ones. So,
oh my god,
fugly ones.
Them.
I got you.
Fugly. So I'm gonna start again. I have Conkeldurr.
Who the fuck is that? Wait, what's that
he's like the American Machop.
Yeah, exactly.
American Machop. I gotta Google this.
Yeah. And Klefki.
Oh, Klefki's
really?
okay.
It's kind of cute.
It's
It's keys. It's literally keys.
It's just keys. I agree.
Keys. Okay.
They need to be strong against the door Pokemon in the next game. I always thought that I get is it Phoebus or Phoebus? It's a fish and it's
Phoebus.
It's like Phoebus. It's like Phoebus. It's like
Phoebus.
Yeah, it's always it's everywhere in Pokemon Go, and I hate it. It's so ugly. And then oh god, I'm trying to think of the other one. I had it written down. From the original game, it's Wheezing. I always thought Wheezing was kind of ugly too.
Really?
And only because of how gross he sounds in the anime.
Wheezing. Laura does the best Wheezing impression, I swear.
Oh my god. It's so disgusting. Yeah. I'm so sad.
All right, I'm going to go with Tortonator. He's like a wannabe Torkoal.
Oh, I love him.
What?
Yeah, legitimately.
And then Chikorita is my other one.
Yeah.
Really?
And
fuck that Pokemon.
That's honestly only because of the anime. I did not like the sassiness. She was not cool enough. Meganium's pretty cool, but I would never pick Chikorita because
not Bulbasaur.
I don't got time for that
not
nonsense.
Bulbasaur indeed.
Yes.
I would have to say Poplio. I am just not a fan.
Dare you?
I know. I'm really just not a fan, especially the middle form. I'm probably losing all the friends and fans for that, but I just do not like Poplio. I'm not a seal person, really.
That's fine.
And then I think Rillaboom is really dumb.
Which is really funny because I think he's the new grass final evolution.
Oh.
Yeah, of Sword and Shield. And the only reason I think Rillaboom itself is cool, but the drums and then when he Dynamaxes or Gigantamaxes, he has like these like mega drum set that's just so silly. It really I just think it's so ugly.
Fair.
Okay.
I had three more, and they're mostly from Pokemon Go. But I never liked Loudred. I thought he was kind of dumb and ugly, and I really hated the dude with the big nose. I think it's Nosepass.
Probopass. Well,
yeah, he's got like a little like mustache. I just thought it was super dumb. And then when I was actually looking up like ugly Pokemon, because I was like, what is here? I didn't know that this one Perugly is a thing.
Yeah, Perugly's a real Pokemon.
It has ugly in the name, and I'm like, yeah, I could see it. And like the one before it is kind of cute, so I was like, I'll throw that in as honorable mention.
I'm gonna go with Sigilyph. I know that's probably like a deep cut, but Sigilyph is like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just it's
literally just like a drawing.
Are you just mispronouncing syphilis?
No, it's Sigilyph, but yeah.
No, I know what it is. Yeah,
okay. Oh,
yeah, I got who you're throwing down.
I got you.
It's basically like a floating drawing.
And then Alcremie, I'm not rocking with either.
So there with you.
Yeah.
In fact, like half of my answers were from Sword and Shield. Like, there's a Pokemon called Ice Cube. It's a penguin, but its head is an ice cube. Stupid. All the fossil Pokemon from Sword and Shield, stupid.
Which is very upsetting, because if they just like put the fossil Pokemon together correctly, I think they all would look very cool. But when you look at them not correctly, you're just like, what is going on here?
Wait, is Alcremie a fossil Pokemon? I thought it was ice cream.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, just like, I don't know. Okay, cool. I
Okay.
thought I missed something really major from that game.
There's one last thing that I want to talk about, and I think this is for more of our like people who are a little burnt out on Pokemon that are looking for new ways to play. And this is something that I actually partake in a bit. Adam, I'm not sure if you have, but you have for competitive, and I want to have you talk about the competitive scene some.
Yeah.
But before we do, I want to talk about Nuzlocke and Soul Links. Have you heard of these?
I have.
Yeah, I've heard of these. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and Jason, I know when you were visiting me in December, I made you watch that hilarious Nuzlocke
it was fun.
video that Jaden,
The animation
animated.
one. Yeah.
Those are so funny. But I get a little bored of Pokemon just because, like we talked about, it's so routine. So there's these ways that players actually made for them to be replayed. The first one is called a Nuzlocke, and this is basically like almost a realistic way of playing Pokemon, where any Pokemon that like faints, like is dead when it's faint, so you can't use it anymore, and you have to catch the first Pokemon in every area. If you don't catch it, you basically don't get a Pokemon in that area. Yeah. And then you have to nickname all of your Pokemon in order to be closer to them. I think that's just a really cool concept and way to play, and I've done it several times, and it really ups the level of difficulty. So Pokemon is a lot more challenging, because we talked about, there are certain Pokemon that you never ever use. You just like never use them because you're just kind of like, well, there's a better Pokemon later on, so I'm just gonna use that. But this, you can't guarantee you're gonna get a better Pokemon, so you have to stick with those. And it makes you use these Pokemon that you'll never use before. What are your guys' thoughts on like a different way to play like that?
I think that it's a telling sign for Game Freak and the Pokemon Company that you have to think of your own way to play the game to enjoy it, because it's been the same for a long time. But power to the players for doing that. That's pretty cool. I appreciate it. I think it's cool. I feel like if Game Freak or the Pokemon Company, I guess the Pokemon Company, if they want to really lean into like giving the players what they want, incorporating modes like that makes a lot of sense. Is it for like the casual players that this is targeted to? Absolutely not. But I think it could be.
I
really
would
fun.
never recommend it, because you wouldn't get to experience catching and using all the Pokemon.
Exactly. You're literally going to use like what, 20 out of, we just established 898 possible choices. So it's different, but it is really fun. And I think it's a neat way to play and enjoy the game. It's also a really cool way to like replay a game. So maybe if it was like a new game plus and you like did Pokemon hardcore mode and you're like, well, shit, I can only do these things. Like that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I see no reason why you wouldn't have a mode like this, or why, if you're looking to spice the game up, why you wouldn't try it.
Yeah, I say I've personally never done a Nuzlocke for like a lot of the reasons that you were like saying, of like I can't catch a Pokemon and like be like, see you later, loser, like thanks for nothing. So like, which is funny because like in Pokemon Go, I'm like, oh, you don't have 3 stars? Transfer.
Well, it's I know it's funny for you too, because you're a Fire Emblem player, and I know you don't reset when you lose.
I do not.
Right?
Or no, I do reset. I reset.
Oh, you do reset. Okay.
No, I can never let one of my warriors die unless I don't like them. No, but yeah, I've never done a Nuzlocke, but like it's one of those things like, which is really funny, is there's like so many more views on people doing like Nuzlocks and Soul Links that like than some like competitive players, have on like championship runs and things like that, to where like I think Nuzlocke, it's a fun way for people to like have fun with the game, and every experience is going to be a little bit new and refreshing. It's not personally for me because I just get so attached to like my main series Pokemon, but I think it's cool, and it's fun that people are utilizing the games in this way to like keep it fresh and keep it fun for them to go back to.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit about the competitive scene to wrap us up too, because I think is just an untapped area of Pokemon for casual players that they're really missing out on. Like that's something more that actually is built into the games already. So yeah, just like why is competitive so exciting to you? And then maybe like briefly, what are some of the different ways that competitive set up? Because I know it's like you said, it's not just 6v6. There are a lot of different ways that competitive can be done.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, like I got into the competitive scene because like a lot of people, like why Nuzlocke gets created, people just want to keep playing the games because they love the games. And so for me, it started with me and my buddy would make like 6 Pokemon and we would 1v1 each other and just like battle it out, and like that was just always fun to me. And then eventually like the Pokemon company stepped in and said, hey, this is our official circuit, this is how you're gonna play, and or at least if you want to play with us in a sense and like have a chance at money. I mean, at that point it was like $500 in scholarships. Nowadays,
not anymore.
Yeah, nowadays it's like a couple grand, which is really, really cool to see. But yeah, for me, it was just, I wanted to continue playing the game, and for me, continuing to play the game was getting into competitive. So yeah, so for the official Pokemon, their competitive scene consists of show 6, which means like you get to see your opponent's 6 Pokemon, and then you bring 4 Pokemon to like hopefully counter what you're seeing on your opponent's screen or your opponent's team. And then it's 2v2, so you throw out 2 Pokemon at a time, so it's basically doubles for those of you that know like tennis vernacular of like 2v2.
Oh, I know tennis vernacular very well.
Yeah, so see, this is why we're kindred spirits, because I grew up playing tennis and
gay.
Great. Okay, first off. But yeah, sorry that I wasn't big and strong enough to play football, you know, in the fall. But
yeah, because I totally did that.
but yeah, so that's like the national competitive scene, and you know, I just got really into it back in our Gold and Soul Silver was like the first like tournament that I could like go to. And so like I remember I made a team, and back then it was like the wild west of like you had to win 4 games in a row to like then go to a smaller corral to then win like another 4 games in a row. And it's really evolved from what it once was, because now like they have all day tournaments where it's, you know, you at least have like, it might have changed, but you know, they evolved into like you at least had 8 matches, and then you know you would make top cut, which was like a round of 32, and then you know they narrow that 32 down to 16 players, and then they get to come back the next day. I sadly never was good enough to make top cut, but it was one of those things that like I always just enjoyed going and competing. I will say my one greatest achievement was giving the national champion in 2014 Gavin Michaels is his name, I believe, giving him his only loss that year.
Ooh, cool.
Which was really, really fun. He, however, so what's really cool in the competitive scene as well, or maybe not cool, but kind of nerdy, is the champion of like whatever tournament will post like their war story of like what happened in each match, like why they won, why they lost. And funny enough, when Gavin had to talk about his loss to me, he was like, this guy was a scrub. He had all hacks Pokemon.
Oh no.
He wasn't even like a good player. I can't even believe I lost to him. Like, he got so lucky, whatever. Next. And I just like,
oh wow,
reading that, like,
what a salty player.
The shade. We're spilling some tea today. We are spilling the
is that
tea.
how we remember it? Which, whatever. Like, that's another thing with
I mean,
him.
a win is a win,
Right.
so he needs to respect that.
Oh yeah, but it's fine. That's why I kind of like started to skedaddle out of the like content creation, because like a lot of those guys at the higher level can be a tad bit toxic and a tad bit cliquey. And like Patrick kind of said at the beginning, I was in a fraternity, and you know, it's not cool to play Pokemon, even though like I was known in the fraternity as the guy that played Pokemon. But but like I was making real world friends and didn't really, this is gonna sound like super bad and kind of judgy, but like I wasn't making online friends. I was making more real world friends. So it was one of those things of I was just like, I went to competitions to compete and not make friends. I'm here to win, even though I always like was like top, you know, 500 or whatever that tournament was. But
I mean, I feel what you're saying. Like, I also competed in other games, and like when you're in it, like you're in it to play, and it's not RuPaul's best friend race. So like you're trying to go there to win, and I completely understand that. Yeah.
So yeah, but But like that's the official competitive scene. Like there's a website called Smogon, SMOGON.com. They're like into like the real way to play competitive Pokemon, which is 6v6,
they give you the
1v1.
tier list of the Pokemon on there too. Like I know every once in a while, if I want to check in about how good my Pokemon is, I go there and it tells you if they're like overused in tournament play or underused and whatnot. I think that's a really good way to scale, and that's how they break up some tournaments too, based on how frequently they're used, right?
So for 6v6, there's not really many in-person tournaments. It's more so just like online stuff. So there's I don't know if we should say it, but there's a thing called back in the day it was Shoddy, and now it's Pokemon Showdown. It's basically just like a Pokemon battle simulator, and that's kind of like where they utilize a lot of their data from, of like, yeah, there's OUs, NUs, RUs, UUs, OUs, overused Pokemon. So basically they're the best of the best Pokemon. You're like Garchomps and things of that. Like those pseudo legendaries are typically what's in there. And then you have like your underused Pokemon, which are like can be used a lot, but they're not that good because there's base stats and things of that nature. I'm trying to keep this
whole, like meta of Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm trying to like, because it's the competitive scene is so deep that it's like I don't want to like bore the listeners with like some of that stuff, because it can be so large and like deep that you're like, I don't get what do you mean I can't use my Butterfree? And it's like, you can, you're just not going to use them well, sadly.
You're gonna lose,
right?
Yeah,
but that's the crazy thing too, though. There's just there are some Pokemon that you can use in tournament play that you would never think would be good if you played them in just story mode. You would be like, well, this person that I have crushes this Pokemon. I think one of the biggest ones that really surprised me that I didn't realize was a good Pokemon was Gastrodon.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this was a good Pokemon, because you just look at the Pokemon at base and like, this Pokemon is 4 times weak to grass. Like this is never going to be a feasible Pokemon. But then like that was one of the most common Pokemon that I saw used in tournament play, and I was just like mind blown by that.
And that's because grass is a weak type typically, like, or the Pokemon that are grass type are just typically not very, very good, because another like type that you probably wouldn't think too much about, ice type, is super duper prevalent in the competitive scene because it has one of the best attacking moves in Ice Shard. So like dragons are like can get one-shotted by a Sneasel using Ice Shard, and it's just one of those things of like you don't know what's like good until you get wombo comboed into oblivion. So like it's not for everyone. I definitely get that. Like it's turn-based strategy, so like it's only so fun and exciting. Like I know watching Call of Duty is definitely funner because like
more visceral.
Like yeah, sick headshot. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to get hyped for like, oh cool, that's surf hit. Woo. You know, like I definitely can see that like aspect of like why the competitive scene might not be the funnest thing to watch. But it's the same with like real world sports, you know, like tennis is an exciting sport to watch, like for me, but like for some people it's just like they're literally just hitting the ball back and forth. And then there's other people that are like watch the NBA or football and they're like, you know, it's one of those things of like
it's the thought that goes behind it.
Yeah, there's different strokes for different folks. So I think that's kind of like where my head is at with the competitive scene.
Nice.
I like it. It's just I love Pokemon, so like I'm a competitive person, so I love the idea of utilizing like my love for Pokemon and like scratching my competitive itch.
Well,
yeah,
that's cool. I mean, you've taught me so much, so thank you for enlightening me on the competitive scene of
I know.
Pokemon.
Can't wait to see you at your next tournament. You know?
Yeah, not gonna happen, but yeah. And with that, we're gonna take a second break. Isn't that crazy? So we're gonna stretch our legs too. I'm gonna get some more water here in just a minute. If you haven't checked it out yet, head over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/RPGaymer, and give us support there. We really appreciate that. We will be right back.
While we're on a break, we decided we wanted to answer some Patron fan mail. This question comes from John on patron. I mean, we have a couple Johns on there, but
John on
this,
Patreon.
yeah, this John, you know who you are. And John wants to know what video game has the worst protagonist you've ever had to play as. We're gonna keep this brief because we're going really long again, but we want to make sure we're answering our good questions. So, Adam, you want to start us out?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, there's obviously like some old school ones that I can think of, but right now, like the one that is in my head is Eldegard from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Hot take.
I just don't. I'm not a waifu wars man. She ain't giving me them goods enough, and her take on the war and the crests is terrible.
I'm gonna do bad things to stop bad things from happening.
Yeah, it's like, come on, bro, or sis.
Jason, how about you?
Man, the only thing I can really think of, I never connected with Squall in Final Fantasy VIII. I never got it. And I coming off of like Cloud, who is also not that like relatable, I was just like, no, this isn't working for me. And then going into Zidane, which is like my favorite, it just exacerbated how bad Squall was. So sorry, Gunblade's cool. Squall, I can't connect.
I also went with the Square Enix game, and I said Neku from The World Ends With You, or Twiwi, if you will.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Is just literally the biggest dick the entire game. Like, he's literally just an asshole, and like all the other characters are just so kind or funny, or like they have redeeming qualities, and Neku is just an asshole. I loved that game, but I could not get into him as a character at all.
Did you watch
it was painful.
Did you watch the anime? Because he's not redeemed in the anime at all.
Oh no, I need to watch that.
It's good, but it's like, oh, yikes. Maybe this wasn't as great as I remember.
And we are back for segment 3 of our podcast. We do that thing where we play a game, and today we're going to play
Who's That Pokemon?
We're going to guess Pokemon based on their Dex entries. Because Jason doesn't play games, we're going to limit most of our clues between gens 1 and 3, which is super lame, but
it's still like 300 choices.
It still gives us a lot of options.
Easy mode, bro.
We're also gonna just do the usual. We're gonna read their Dex entry, and then the other two people are gonna work together to see if they can guess what Pokemon is, and if they don't get it, they get a little random clue, and then what generation they're from. So Adam, why don't you go ahead and start us out? I don't feel like we usually have our guest start us, but I feel like we can start there today.
Well, thank you. I will I'll start off easy. I'll get us cooking a little bit, if you will. But my first one is going to be, although it is a cocoon, it can move a little. It can extend its poison barbs if it is attacked.
Oh, I think I know this one.
Go for it, Jason.
Is it Cascoon? Is that what it's called?
It is not. It is not.
No.
Is it Kakuna?
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, Kakuna has barbs?
Yeah, he's a poison type.
I guess so.
I know, but I'm trying to think what it looks like. Okay. Got it. Okay,
nice.
Sure.
Nice. All right, Jason, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. I picked 2 entries here or 2 Pokédex ones. Okay. It apparently wishes for a traveling companion. Since it was once human itself, it tries to create one by taking the lives of other humans.
Ooh, I think we were literally just having a conversation about this the other day. I think it's gonna be Drifloon?
Well, but Drifloon's not gens 1 through 3, so I don't know.
It is not Drifloon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Gen 1 through 3?
I can read another Pokédex entry.
Yeah, read another Pokédex. That sounds super familiar too.
Under a full moon, this Pokemon likes to mimic the shadows of people and laugh at their fright.
Oh.
Haunter?
It is not Haunter.
Gengar?
It is Gengar. Yeah.
Okay.
I picked him, and I had to reserve. This is my favorite Pokemon, and we haven't talked about him yet, and I love Gengar. So great.
He's a very. That's one. Why does he not get more forms? Well, actually, he's gotten a lot of forms.
Yeah,
It's true. He's got a few.
Actually, never mind.
Also,
one of the scariest Dynamaxes
yeah.
or Gigantamaxes I've seen.
Patrick, what you got next?
Okay, guys, who's that Pokemon? It is said to appear in front of kindly people to scatter a glowing dust called joy dust.
Was this just heroin? Like, what is this?
Oh, the heroin Pokemon.
Yeah,
who's
the
that
heroin
Pokemon? It's meth.
It's just some needles. Oh my god.
I want to say Clefairy?
It's not Clefairy.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you want a clue?
Sableye? I have no idea.
I'll give
Yeah,
you
what about a clue? A clue.
The definition of happiness, its final form might give you a smooch.
Oh.
Smooch?
Yeah.
It's not Smoochum.
What? Is it just Jinx then?
No.
Wait. Its definition of happiness? What was it?
That it is the Pokemon is the definition of happiness. Its final form might give you a smooch.
Love disc.
No. This
Gosh.
Pokemon is
Lissy?
Gen 2.
Oh.
Lissy?
Wait. Am I Happiny? No. Happiny was Gen 4.
Wow.
I'm terrible at this. What?
Its
rough.
dex entry is literally the happiness Pokemon. Its final form is also probably my number one Pokemon.
Togepi? No.
Charizard?
Togetic.
Togetic.
You're close. It's Togetic.
Okay.
Togetic.
That
Togekiss.
makes
That's the happiness Pokemon?
Its final
Right.
its final form might give you a
Okay.
smooch. Togekiss.
Yes. God.
Togekiss.
Interesting.
Yeah, that one's right.
Togekiss is my favorite Pokemon.
I get it.
That went right
Nice.
over my head.
That did too. That's a good one though.
That was very, very, very good. All right. Let's go with.
Oh yeah, if you're listening in at home, make sure you play along. Pause it and get some guesses
Yeah.
down.
All right. I got one for you. This Pokemon.
Diglett. Oh, sorry.
What if it was?
Damn it. Yeah.
This Pokemon agilely leaps about the jungle and uses the sharp leaps on its arms to strike its prey.
Sceptile.
Okay, come on, man. That was
Yeah.
dang.
I can see it in my. Yeah, he has little leaves for his elbows, right?
You know what? I'm gonna make sure my
Who's
last
the
one.
Pokemaster now,
Yeah,
bitch?
I'm gonna make the last one
God.
as hard as possible now.
Pick the hard one.
Bring it, bitch.
Okay. I can go next. It unleashes psychic power from the orb on its forehead. When its power is exhausted, the orb grows dull and dark.
Say that one more time.
It unleashes psychic power from the orb on its forehead. When its power is exhausted, the orb grows dull and dark.
Spoink.
It is not Spoink. Is that the pig one?
Yeah.
No, not that one.
Who's got?
Oh,
Who
'cause
else?
I was gonna say Grumpig.
Yeah, I was gonna say if not
No.
Spoink, I was gonna. Okay.
I have a clue. You want a clue?
Yeah.
Y'all.
In the spin-off game Pokemon Coliseum, this is a starter Pokemon.
Oh, Espeon.
Espeon!
Nice.
Ding! Nice.
Okay. Very cool.
Shout out to Pokemon Coliseum. That's an episode for another day.
I mean, oh god, yeah, because we haven't even. Oh, great game.
Yeah,
I have
there's
many
so
good
we're
spin-offs.
we're gonna have to cycle back to Pokemon for another
Yeah.
episode because there's no way
Nice.
we got to talk
I
about
say we
all of it.
barely scratched the surface on yeah. But Patrick,
All right.
what do you got for us?
Patrick, you go.
Who's that Pokemon? This Pokemon can make balloons out of air. It makes these air balloons if it spots a drowning Pokemon. The air balloons enable the Pokemon in trouble to breathe.
Diglett. No, I'm kidding.
Give me one more time,
air
please, and thank
balloons?
you. One more time.
This Pokemon can make balloons out of air. It makes these air balloons if it spots a drowning Pokemon. The air balloons enable the Pokemon in trouble to breathe.
That sounds like a miracle.
It's a water type.
Who's the miracle Pokemon?
Who's doing balloons? Who's blowing them balloons?
Poliwhirl?
It is not Poliwhirl.
Ugh.
Do you want your next clue?
Yes, please.
Sure.
It's misleading how strong this Pokemon actually is. Well, if it has the right ability, that is.
Oh, are we doing as Azumarill?
Yep, it's Azumarill.
Azum. Oh yeah, I could see that. They did in the anime once, I think, too.
Such a cutie. Such a cutie. Little
Wait, what's the ability?
Huge power, is that what it's called? It doubles its attack stat, so like even though it doesn't have the strongest attack growth, it actually like doubles it, so it's like it has a base 120 attack, I think, instead of a base 60.
Oh damn!
You saw a little bit of play in competitive, but
little powerhouse there.
yeah.
And then when he got fairy, it just made him better.
Yeah, because yeah.
Because fairy.
All right.
Because
fairy, yes. Yeah, we didn't even talk about types. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, so much to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, my last one here. I think hopefully this will stump you, but it makes its nests at the bottom of swamps. It will eat anything if it is alive. This Pokemon will eat it.
Grimer.
It makes its nest at the bottom of swamps. Is that Muck?
You were incorrect.
Grimer? Muck?
Come backwards?
Oh my god.
I was gonna say I was trying to make a joke earlier about Ekans of like, did you know it's snake backwards?
Wait, what? Stop.
Do we need
Is it Wooper?
It is not.
Woobat. Speaking of weird Pokemon.
No.
Ooh.
What's the next
My
one?
next clue. This Pokemon actually had a banned episode revolving around it.
Mm.
The only banned episode that I think I know is the Porygon one.
There is
No, because of all the flashing.
mhm,
Yeah.
there's actually one more episode that got banned. I think it eventually aired, but it was at first banned.
Didn't it have like guns in it or something like that?
There is randomly a gun episode where Ash gets like a gun put right into his face.
It's
God.
that's Tentacruel that has the other banned episode, right?
Tentacruel.
Because of the guns and
No,
and
that one.
whatnot.
There's an episode about. I think it's about Electabuzz and Magmar, like this town, like.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's they're like the whole town just has guns, and it's based off of course, America.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Wait, what was the Dex entry again? I'm getting confused.
Sorry, we were talking about a lot of other Pokemon other than this Pokemon. It makes its nest at the bottom of swamps. It will eat anything if it is alive. This Pokemon will eat it. And it has, your second clue was this Pokemon has a banned episode, or at least it was banned at first.
It's obviously a Gen 1 Pokemon, right?
It is not a Gen 1 Pokemon.
Oh, it's not a Gen 1 Pokemon.
Damn, I don't know. What's the next clue?
The next clue, it is the Whiskers Pokemon.
Wishcash.
Ding, 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 ding. Whiscash.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Wishcash.
Yes.
Wait, why was it banned?
So the Whiscash episode, if I'm remembering everything about it correctly, the episode was about a Whiscash that was living in the lake. Ash obviously comes to town as he normally does, and the Whiscash was creating earthquakes and like was doing damage to the town. When the episode
is this offensive to Japan?
Well, when the episode aired, or the week that the episode was supposed to air, there was oh gosh, there was the big earthquake that created the tsunami that like blew up the nuclear plants and all that stuff. So to basically, they were just like, we're gonna
bad timing.
Pass on this episode. It did air in America though, but it did not air at first in Japan. I don't think it actually has.
At least it didn't cause people to have seizures.
That's true.
I mean,
too, I guess.
Grow up.
Wow.
All right, Jake.
Okay, moving on.
Anyways, all right, I got one for you. It has a sluggish nature. It lies at the river's bottom, waiting for prey to stray into its mouth.
Gulpin?
No.
What's that flat fish Pokemon?
It's not that one.
Okay,
I'll tell you that.
Whatever that one is.
Yeah, it lays on the ground. Okay, great, thank you.
Do you want your clue?
Whale Lord.
No.
No,
I should have done that for you because I know you're afraid of whales.
That's true. That'd be frightening.
Oh yeah.
Go on. What's the clue?
If you could personify Derp, it would be this Pokemon.
Well,
Derp.
Derp.
Wobbuffet? Oh wait, what's that little?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm I listen to you guys play all your games, and I'm always like, I have no idea what the heck these guys are talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's the personified of derp. Okay.
Yeah, personification of
A
dirt.
derpy Pokemon. Oh wait. It's got that funny tail.
Yes.
Shit. It's a water type. Obviously, it's blue.
Yes.
Oh my god.
How about who's a blue derpy water type from?
It's like an axolotl. Isn't that like what it's supposed to be or something like that?
Kind of.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
God, what is it?
Quagsire?
It's Quagsire.
Quagsire. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, there it is.
We got there.
It's not that. It is kind of.
It is like,
actually.
yeah. Now that you say that, I'm
He's got like
duh.
the face is basically like just a dot and 2 dots in a line, and then there's its face.
All right, I
that's
have
good.
one more for you guys since I had a few extra. All right, if you want,
Yeah,
we'll
go
wrap
for
up
it.
from here.
I'm ready for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Who's that Pokemon? It doggedly pursues its prey wherever it goes. However, the chase is abandoned at sunrise.
Houndour.
No.
Houndoom.
Mighty Yenna?
No. If you guess like the evolution line, I would give it to you. But no.
Oh,
Okay.
It's a
Don't let doggedly
sunrise.
don't let doggedly confuse.
Oh, okay.
you. It doggedly
chases.
pursues its prey wherever it goes. However, the chase is abandoned at sunrise.
Sableye.
No.
Um,
My clue is ookie spooky.
Ookie spooky.
Mischievous.
Spooky
I say I'm mischievous.
is not mischievous.
If it's ookie spooky, it's gotta be a ghost type, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. Haunter.
No.
Ghost type.
Ghost type.
Is it the candle one?
Litwick?
Lampwick?
That's-
Litwick. Yeah.
That's Gen 5.
My bad.
This is Gen 3.
This is Gen 3 ghost
3.
type. I would say Duskull.
It is Duskull.
Duskull. That's a good one. Nice. Duskull's a cool one.
Yeah.
Duskull makes sense.
This was fun. You could literally like do this all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's 10 down. We have 888 to
So,
go.
yeah, we
So
can-
we can play this game many more times.
Yeah, you can keep stumping me all day.
Well, Adam, we want to thank you for hanging out with us today. And listeners, if you liked Adam, he's going to be around for some of our bonus content on our Patreon for sure. And I'm certain you'll be back on an episode again. You're pretty well versed
Yeah.
in other games as well, so
I would, yeah.
you'll be back.
Hopefully,
And
it
it won't be a 5-hour episode because it's not Pokemon.
Well, the
so.
next when because we haven't even.
I mean, it
talked-
could be Pokemon. Yeah.
I say,
Yeah, I
we're
mean-
saying we haven't talked types, we haven't talked Pokemon Go, we haven't talked Pokemon
I got things to say about
Masters.
spin-offs.
Just
Pokemon
like
Cafe.
with Final Fantasy, there will be extra Pokemon episodes for sure. But definitely want to thank you for being here with us.
Well, thank you for having me,
Yeah.
guys. I really appreciate it, and hopefully, I wasn't too boring for your listeners, and hopefully, they enjoyed my. You didn't even let me rant about Game Freak. Gosh dang it!
Oh,
Saving
darn.
it for a new episode.
But no, yeah, thank you for having me, guys. This was a blast, and I mean, I love Pokemon. It's great. It's taken me all over the world for realsies.
Yeah.
So it's I love being able to talk about it and share my passion with other people. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate
awesome.
it.
Where can our listeners find you if they want to watch you beat your wife in Pokemon card games and stream?
They can find me at Tortilla TV on Twitch, TORTETTV. That's my Twitch channel. Or if you want to watch some old school competitive play content, I randomly enough still have my old school YouTube channel still up, Torterra 2020. Torterra is my favorite Pokemon, so I've always just tried to utilize him in my username stuff. But yeah, you can either find me at TortTV or Torterra 2020 on YouTube. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And then, Jason, where can our listeners find us if they want to call us fools for all the nonsense we spout today?
Of course. I don't know why they would ever think that, but you can find us on Twitter, Instagram at RPGaymer. Also, we have a Discord, which you can join too and talk to us that way. And you can also find us...
please come to our Discord. We love the people that we chat with, and we both interact with them whenever anything is posted. So please,
I like
please.
to look when I'm supposed to be at work, and I'm like, I need a break, and I just talk to people at video games on Discord. It's great. Also mentioned it before, but you can also follow us on Patreon and support the channel that way too. That's patreon.com/RPGaymer.
If you enjoyed listening to us today, be on the lookout for our next podcast, Linearity versus Open-Ended Games, coming up in 2 weeks. Also, if you want to check out our other content, Jason and I stream on the regular on Tuesdays, and I stream with Casey, when we can, because it's fun and that's life. You can also check out our YouTube channel for video game reviews, deep thought about games, anything under the sun. We appreciate you all for listening and hope you had a great time. Now go out there and get gaming.